Day 38. Here are some 5 things you need to know. Another tank missile into Israel. This is number 1. Towards the civilian town of Netuah. However, the town has been desolate. The facts are still coming in, but here's what we know. It landed again in Netuah. It's a civilian area in the Upper Galilee that's been cleared out. There are reports of some injuries. We don't have an exact number. Hezbollah has today launched 18 missiles and mortars. Anyone who is in the north has been told to shelter in place, and right now the IDF is attacking the source of these missiles. It's not sure which group fired the missile. We'll have a live report as soon as we can establish contact with our reporter there. Number 2, the world seems focused on the Al-Shifa hospital in Gaza. The IDF released video showing troops dropping off 300 liters of fuel, but the IDF says the fuel was rejected by the CEO of the hospital. There's no word on what happened to the fuel, but it's suspected now to be in the hand of Hamas. The IDF and the American intelligence say that Hamas has built a command complex under the hospital, and that the IDF has now also set up a pathway for civilians to safely leave the hospital. Number 3, in a different area of the Middle East, the United States has struck Iranian facilities in eastern Syria. There are reports that 6 Iranian proxy fighters are dead. Those facilities, used by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and groups affiliated by it, are used by and linked to dozens of attacks against American troops in neighboring Iraq. There have been 46 attacks against American troops. Number 4, the IDF confirmed for the first time that the Arrow interception system has been used in this war. It was put into service way ahead of schedule to intercept missiles that Yemeni Houthi rebels launched against Israel. It is a long-range missile. It was used in the outer reaches of the atmosphere. So now, for the first time in world history, there has been combat in space. So now let's first go here in our studio. We're doing live team coverage. I'm joined now here in studio by Colonel Grisha Yakubovich. Thanks so much, Grisha, for joining us for your analysis and ahead of time. A lot moving, especially now with this new anti-tank missile that was launched from Lebanon. What is the message that Hezbollah is now trying to send to us?
Well, I was sure yesterday that we reached a certain level of escalation that the Israeli side was supposed to take a decision to open the northern front. I think some pressure from maybe from the United States, maybe from other Western allies, stopped Israel from doing that. And I think that today we return again to the equation that Hezbollah have created since the beginning of the war. It means Hezbollah continues attacking IDF targets, as he refers to. For example, the 14 civilians that were injured yesterday in Dovev, they consider them as soldiers.
Whether or not they're civilians.
They were civilians from the IEC, the Israeli electricity company. I think one of them is still missing, but they were civilians. But the moment that they are declaring that for them it was a military target, it means even if they reached to the highest, let's say, peak of escalation yesterday, and Israel was supposed to take action and start and to open the front, they returned back to the equation of we as Hezbollah continue playing around with you.
It's taunting. It's like a teasing in this playground.
It's a ping pong. It's a game, and it fits to the declaration of Nasrallah. While he announced that he is helping his brothers in Gaza, although it's weird, Shia, Sunna.
Right.
There's an issue there, but he's keeping busy 3 Israeli divisions. So instead of 3 Israeli divisions that
focus on
Gaza, he is playing. Let's say he's playing with them. Okay, so he's stretching the IDF. On the other hand, Hamas, the resistance, as he says, in Lebanon, are ones that are joining their brothers in Gaza, Hamas. And they are the ones who are launching the missiles, the rockets, the mortar shells. For example, 18 mortar shells landed in Arab al-Aramshe, and as it was said, in open areas. Okay, it means it's undirect. Okay, if it was Hezbollah, it would probably very, very directed missiles that would hit the target. And as long as it's in open area and not in urban cities, it means it's something else. It's not us. Okay?
Right.
So what I see and how the day. Okay, we are talking about
so early in the day.
So early in the day, nobody knows what will happen in the evening. But as for now, Hamas and Israel continue holding the equation of Hezbollah and the IDF will continue the ping pong, this game, and Israeli will target some targets, military targets, okay, of Hezbollah, and Israel has a green line to attack any Hamas or any resistance action in Lebanon.
Grisha, I'm going to have you stand by for 1 second. We've made contact now with our correspondent in the north, right by the Lebanese border. This Mary McAuliffe. She's joining us live now from northern Israel. Mary, talk to us a little bit about this latest attack.
That's right, Albert. So we have a number of injured from this anti-tank missile attack in the Arab El Ramsha area. We don't have any confirmation yet from the IDF about the injuries that took place in this attack. But there were mortars fired in the Ramsha area. The IDF said that those landed in open areas and didn't cause any damage. But in the same similar area, we also had that anti-tank missile attack, which is what is said to have caused those injuries among those who were there in that area, very near the border area. And also just moments ago, inside Lebanon, reports coming out that there's another anti-tank missile attack that was fired at the Manara area inside Israel. Again, we're still waiting to hear details about what exactly that strike was. Hezbollah, for its part, did claim credit for the anti-tank missile attack, claiming amongst them that they did cause injuries and successes by hitting Israeli soldiers. It remains unconfirmed exactly what transpired there, what that attack was, but it's a series of a number of different anti-tank missiles from throughout the past few days.
So, Mary, the missile landed, as Grisha was telling us, the missile landed in Netwa, which is basically, it's been cleared out. So it seems that what they were doing was trying to hit some Israeli military sites within the proper Israel proper.
Absolutely, and that's what we've seen from Hezbollah really over the course of the past few weeks. Of course, we've seen rockets continue to be fired at communities in northern Israel, most of which are evacuated, but not all. We have had injuries. We've also had deaths among Israeli civilians in the past few weeks from these attacks coming from Hezbollah. But the majority of the attacks that we have seen coming from southern Lebanon have been these anti-tank missile attacks, which have been fired mostly at IDF areas or IDF positions along the border. But what we saw yesterday when there was that anti-tank attack, Hezbollah claiming that they hit a number of Israeli soldiers who were working on surveillance equipment at the time. In reality, of course, those were actually workers at the time who were working as part of an electric company to try and repair power lines that were damaged from a previous strike by Hezbollah. So we do continue them seeing primarily targeting these military areas and civilians occasionally getting caught in the crossfires. But of course, the danger of these rocket fires do continue. Yesterday, we had a volley of rockets fired from inside southern Lebanon, but that attack was claimed by the Lebanese branch of Hamas.
Now, the residents who may have still stayed in the area, they've been told to shelter in place. Who's staying behind?
For the most part, most of those who are staying in these kibbutzes and these moshavim, these very small communities, those who are lying within the border, so within that 4-kilometer range of where all residents are supposed to be evacuated, most of them are part of the Kita Kononut, so it's part of the private security belonging just mostly people who live inside the residence of the kibbutz or the moshav, who themselves stay to guard the kibbutz. So they're staying as sort of a secondary private civilian force who can do rapid response. That's the majority of those who are staying, and also those who are just staying to run the logistics and the essentials and to keep these communities up and running. But for the vast majority of these communities, they have mostly been evacuated. It's just very small numbers who are remaining here, and those who are saying they are remaining to try and defend their communities from these attacks.
And Mary, just so you know, just while you were speaking, I got a notice in my ear that there are 2 confirmed injured. There's 1 moderate and 1 light injuries, and we'll come back to you more at the top of the next hour with more details as to what's happened here. Mary McAuliffe joining us live at the northern end of Israel and the Lebanese border. Thanks so much for joining us. Grisha Yakubovich, let me come back to you on now. Let's move down to Gaza for a second. There's the Al-Shifa hospital. You can't go on social media without the pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas people saying, "Oh, they're attacking the hospital. Oh, the hospital is the epicenter of genocide." It doesn't sound like that. There's no attacks at the hospital. There are no bombings at the hospital.
Let's just add to what you've said, as expected.
Okay, as expected.
As expected.
Okay.
Now, why is that? We see that the IDF is actually surrounding the Gaza city. It's not only Shifa. You need to understand that Shifa is located at the center of the city Gaza. Okay, around Shifa, we have what I would call and say this is the Hamas Dahya. Okay, like in Beirut, around Shifa. So first of all, the IDF circled, entered, and cleaned all the headquarters, all the let's say, offices, if I may say
Right.
so, like a headquarters around Shifa. I think that is the IDF will publish it. Okay, all the materials that were found, all the weapons and
Training manuals.
all the training manuals,
Right,
everything
right.
is there. I think it will be exposed in the following days. But it's not only Shifa. It's the IDF surrounds something like 4 hospitals in Gaza. We have the Indonesian in the area
Right.
of Jabalia. We have Rantisi Hospital near Sheikh Radwan. We have Shifa, and we have Al Quds in Tel El Hawa in the south. So actually, the IDF surrounds 4 hospitals, big ones, inside the center of the Gaza Strip, the Gaza city. Okay, what symbols?
Right.
The regime, what symbols Hamas's abilities as an entity. But let's ask ourselves, why only the hospitals? Is it something that we have, I don't know, a wishful thinking that we want to visit hospitals in Gaza? No, we know. The IDF knows that Hamas headquarters are located under those civilian facilities. And this is a cynical use to...
Purposely.
Of course, purposely. This is all planned in advance, and a cynical use of hospitals that are operated by money given by the international community. Okay, countries like the EU, countries like the United States, the UN. Okay, they are all donating money to the Palestinian Authority. Right now, some of the Palestinian Authority budget is actually what operates some of the hospitals. Hamas also get money by other donors like Qatar, for example, not the Western countries, but you have other NGOs that do donate money, okay, to operate all this health system in Gaza. What about UNRWA? Let's not forget that. They are also a player in that. And Hamas decided to locate all the headquarters, warehouses, Maybe Israelis that were kidnapped are also held there. And that's why the IDF surrounds all the hospitals. Now, I know Hamas knew that the moment the IDF will do that, he will use it as
That's what we saw 2 weeks ago when there was a missile that went astray.
Yes, you're talking about the Al-Ahli Ma'amadani.
Right. But
it was found out as a lie.
Right, but I'm saying that the PR, the propaganda use of the hospital is the most important thing.
For the West, okay, for the West, and for the people who support Palestinians, okay, from the Arab world. When they see, for example, now there is a message outside, and we will see that, like it will be like a snowball, okay, that outside of Shifa on the parking there are 100 bodies, another 60 inside, and another 50 at held somewhere inside, and they will try and show it to the world. And why is that? Why Shifa has become a campaign, okay, to do what? To expose that it's like to make monsters out of the IDF, or they are trying to hide something. Okay, so Shifa will be an issue, and the moment the IDF will be able to enter and to show the world that this is actually a Hamas headquarters, then everybody will realize what is the cynical use that Hamas is using.